Let me make sure.
And we have a quorum.
Yeah.
We're not going to elevate anyone.
Woohoo.
We have more than a quorum.
Can folks online hear me?
We can.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Woo-hoo.
All right, all set, Nancy.
All right, it is 6:30. I call the Council on Aging June 10th meeting to order. I am going to take attendance. Jean Prado here. John Parsons is not here. Rose Marie.
Present.
Debbie Small. Joan Coco is not coming. Karen Janowski.
Here.
Karen Fontino.
Here.
Marilyn.
Here.
Nancy T.
Here.
And Nancy Zimlack. And Jackie Bahina.
Here.
Great. There you go. Linda Connors. Sally Hoyt.
Is she well? Anybody to us? No. No.
No.
She's supposed to come on Wednesday, I think,
Oh,
Lunch.
to Hillview.
Of the Hillview from Sylvester.
She was there last time. Did you forget anybody?
Yes.
no.
Yes.
Oh, Karen Panera.
Many Karens, right?
Usually I'm on Zoom,
Oh,
so
there
she's
you
thrown
go.
off.
Yeah, well, you know, I had already checked you off.
Oh,
this
there you
year.
go.
All right, so shall we take a look at the minutes of, what are the minutes for? What are the dates? What's the date for today?
May 13th.
May 13th. We have a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes.
Second. Nancy T, are you being secretary tonight?
Yes.
Okay, great. Any discussion? Hi, Mark.
Oh,
Mark is.
Oh.
All right. All those in favor of accepting the minutes? Jean Prado,
Yes.
Rose Marie,
Yes.
and Karen J,
Yes.
Karen F.
I wasn't here, so I
I
feel like,
wasn't here.
yeah, I feel like I
Do you want to
abstain.
abstain? Yeah, I don't think it matters. I wasn't here either.
Yeah.
Whatever, yeah, whatever you want to do.
I'm approving them.
Marilyn Shapley
Yes.
and Nancy T.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's it. Did I get everybody?
Debbie
Oh my
Small.
God.
Karen P.
Oh, Debbie
You're right,
Small. Debbie Small is on now.
Oh, hi,
Okay.
Debbie.
iPhone 9.
Hi.
We were just accepting the minutes from the last meeting on the 13th.
Great. Yep.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Great. So we can get on with the agenda. It's a fairly kind of short agenda. The last little bit of it might promote some discussion and some of the updates. But let's start with the select board update. Mark.
Hello.
Hello.
So maybe I can, if it's okay, kind of combine a little bit of recall with select board. Would that be all right?
Yes, because John Parsons is not here.
Got it. Okay. So let's start kind of with the big things. We submitted an application for the Reading Center for Active Living to the Permanent Building Committee in the name of the select board, which will be basically the sponsoring agency for the town. And they, at meeting number 2, agreed to accept the project, which is great. So now there is a permanent building committee for this project that will be forming, and it's going to be made up of all the members of the current permanent building committee, plus what probably is 2 other voting members, and then also some non-voting members beyond that. The specifics of that, there's actually an appointment committee that works together on doing exactly that. I don't know what their schedule is. It's the chair of the select board, the chair of the school committee, and the town moderator that are on that committee. And so they'll be kind of deciding who all should be involved on the voting side. And that should be, forthcoming. The other couple of other big activities. One is that given that the permanent building committee is evaluating the different sites and spending some time looking at them, they did highlight the soil as a question at Simon's Way, and they may have some other questions that come up also. But one of the things that RECAL wanted to do was to bring them into the process now before a site is selected, get their input, concerns, whatever they have, and use that as part of the final recommendation. So from my perspective, I think that the COA pretty much has voted and said that, hey, we like Simon's Way as the number one. I believe RECAL has done the same thing. Before there's a formal recommendation going forward from RECAL to the select board, we wanted to get the PBC's input. They have not yet done that. Exactly how long that's going to take, how many other things they want to do before that is unclear. But the select board had a discussion to allow RECALC to not sunset on June 30th, but instead probably get another 60 days. That'll actually be voted on at the next select board meeting, but probably get a 60-day extension. And the main purpose of that is to allow them to get more feedback from the permanent building committee. If there are particular tasks, I mean, we're not going to be testing the soil, but if there are particular tasks that RECALC can help with, to engage in those activities, and then bring things forward to the select board probably in August, or I'd say late, I guess August, because before things sunset from there. So the hope is that with a few more meetings of the permanent building committee, they can be either satisfied in making a recommendation or highlight any concerns that they may have. And then what we'd like to do is have RECALC go forward in conjunction with the COA, make a recommendation to the select board, ask the select board to accept that recommendation so that we can tell BH+A, the architect, to go do schematic drawings. And that's their process. That'll be at least a couple of months time. So that's kind of where all the different pieces are. The town is exploring what would be involved in doing this soil testing, when, how, things like that. There are a lot of discussions going on with town council, and Matt Cornelis is leading those activities to kind of see where we are and how we can take things forward. What was very, very encouraging, and folks who were at the PBC meeting last week, you can highlight this as well, is that everybody appreciates that there's momentum going forward and wants to keep it that way. So in other words, we don't want to kind of come to a grinding stop and then have to do a couple of things and then try to pick up the pieces. I think there's a notion of moving things ahead, getting these drawings done, and bringing it forward to the community. So that's kind of where we are. Nancy Z did a nice job putting together a summary that I think was sent out to everybody of kind of different pieces and steps. Not everything is 100% clear at this point. A lot of things depend on what we get back from town council and a few other things. So the one other thing that does have to happen is that we're going to need an owner's project manager, an OPM. Typically, there would be an owner's project manager for this project already. And usually when you go through funding of town meeting to go through designs, you would have hiring an owner's project manager first. Because we had received ARPA funds and had received kind of the goal of, go ahead, get to the drawings, we didn't do that step. And we're going to need to. And so the permanent building committee is exploring how we might be able to do that on a basis just to get through the schematic drawings. And then we could do a more traditional hiring of an OPM at the next step after town meeting would approve some money. So I think I've covered most everything. Nancy, see anything I missed, or Marilyn?
I have a question. In RECALC last time actually compiled a report. Now, is the presentation going to take the place of a report, or are they going to do both?
I believe the presentation will be the final report.
Okay.
And sorry, so when RECALC is about to sunrise, there will be a final presentation given to the select board, which our hope is will include the site recommendation. So that's the reason why things aren't, we're going to have this meeting next week, June 18th, but we will not have enough feedback from the PBC, the Permanent Building Committee at that point. So the select board at our last meeting agreed to not have recalc present at the June 18th, but to move things out probably a couple of months.
Just one question, just logistics. I know we all want to have everyone in concert, and I believe we're headed a path that way, but I don't know when you're planning to share the draft of that PowerPoint with the Council on Aging. I know you're still working on it. I'm not criticizing. I'm just wondering where in the path it would be helpful for us to see it. So with knowledge, we can say, yes, we agree. That's all.
Yeah. So some of you have seen it. It's in pretty good form right now. I think some tweaks just being added to it. It'll have everything kind of except the final recommendation slide. And I think that should get shared, if not this week, then the start of next. But I
Okay,
think it's
because
almost ready
the
for
part I saw, you had 2 decks and you were integrating them when I left the meeting the other night. So, and I understand you made huge progress. I don't think that version of it's available yet. Whenever, I mean, again, I'm not criticizing, just reminding, we all expect to agree, but it's helpful to have seen what we agreed to.
Yes, that's the plan. That's absolutely the plan. And I would
Yeah.
say, certainly in a week or less, it's ready for that.
Okay, thanks.
Question.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you. I have a question. What is town council involved with?
So 2 things. One is how we might be able to get an owner's project manager in place temporarily. There's an idea. We have a house doctor contract. We have an architectural firm that could do this job that already is being paid by the town for certain other things. And it may be that they could serve as an OPM for this piece. So that's being explored to see if that's a possibility, or if not, we'll have to find a different arrangement. So that's part 1. Part 2 would relate to the testing, the soil testing, and what does the town need to do, if anything, in preparation for that, other than find a way to pay for it?
And is it also, it's my understanding that if they find something, then we have to address it. Is that accurate?
So I think that's true. I think that depending on what the intention is there, it could have different requirements. For example, if you were just going to pave over it, if that was the plan, that, as I understand it, involves a lot less than saying, oh, we're going to build on this and we're going to dig. That is exactly one of the things that's being explored, to understand what that means. But I think the essence of it is, if you dig and you find something, or if you even do the soil test and you find something, you do have to address it somehow.
Thanks. I do have one other question.
Sure.
Oh,
Sorry.
the gun, I was there recently and I heard the gunshots. I'd never heard them before.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't believe has that been considered at all? Like what impact, are there only certain times that the guns are used? I was shocked at how loud it is right there.
Yeah. So as a, not in a butter, but a neighbor, I hear shots on a pretty regular basis from there. I mean, not all night long, just to be clear, but during the day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, that's an issue. It's in a lot of different ways. So we do have the rink there. We do have the field there.
Early in the morning, but my husband's a member, so.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Other people in the room, Mark, are saying that they've also heard the
Yeah.
guns.
So Karen P, and you must hear it too. Yeah. Yeah.
There are certain times that they allow the shooting down there.
And
They also have
other times they
indoor, right, and then there's
Okay.
indoor ranges as well as the outside ranges. But you can also hear Camp Curtis Gill too, because they have.
exactly,
range at
exactly.
Camp Curtis
Yes.
Gill as well, that sort of backs up to the Reading Rifle.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Mark, I think there was also one other thing that the select board talked about, which was BH&A, since both Simon's Way and Oakland Road are similar buildings, that once BH+A completes and does presentation on their feasibility study, they may be able to move into the schematic design. And that's all tied up with the OPM and the legal opinion and the whole thing, but that was one other piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, so I think that's, it is select board, but it's also, I think, town in general, thinking about, in the spirit of keeping the momentum moving.
Mhm.
If it's going to be several weeks before, things are going to move ahead, and who knows how many several weeks really is, does BH+A need to kind of sit quietly and wait and not do anything? Or is the possibility, as Nancy just brought up, that they could start some of their activities that would relate to schematic design, although not quite as site specific, but start talking about space and rooms and things like that. And I think the point, Nancy, you're making is that what BH+A has laid out is that whether it's Simon's Way or Oakland Road, the building footprint is the same.
Yes.
So if those were the top two choices, working on one basically would be very useful for the other. So the hope was just to figure out, is there a way to keep things moving if it's going to be several weeks before we're able to move forward on site selection?
Great, Jean.
So they're going to be testing Simon's Way, and I understand. But if there is an issue with that for building purposes, is the second choice Oakland Road? So we don't lose time. I don't want to lose time. So does Oakland Road need to be tested also, is my question, because my understanding, there were springs, et cetera, that are going through the Oakland Road.
So this is exactly why the PBC is involved now. So now you've got experts who can work on this. They can evaluate what they already have versus what else they might need. And that's exactly what we want them to be doing. That's our hope, is they'll come back and say, well, you really should do X before you say this. And it may be that they also say, hey, from a timing point of view, it's good. That's an issue, but it's not an issue you need to deal with yet. So we want both. We want to know, what do you really need to do before you pick something? And then what other things should we be thinking about, even if you pick a place? What does that mean?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great, thank you. Anything else? That was a lot. Thank you. And that was a lot of movement forward.
Yes.
So everybody should pat themselves on the back for getting us to at this point.
You know what, Nancy, can I add one more thing too? So a number of you attended the financial forum, the first of the financial forums, which is great. And I think it was an opportunity to be sharing with the community all of the priorities that the community has, what the implications of those priorities are, allow for more questions. And as you all know, we've had a number of forums already where we've had the charrettes, we've done surveys, there have been the open houses that are being sponsored over at Pleasant Street. There are many, many opportunities, but one of the things that this community demands is lots of exposure to that. And even if we do 100, we still will unfortunately not be able to hit all the folks in the community that at some point or we hope are going to be placing a vote in favor of this. And in order for them to place that vote in favor, we want to make sure that they have all the information that they need, that they know what's going on today, that they know what we're talking about in this proposal, they know what that means to the community, and therefore that they'll vote in favor of it. So the more we're able to do that, the better. I think having other financial forums is one of those formats to share. And what did come out of that meeting from my perspective is what I call the and of priorities. And the and of priorities is that we need a new Center for Active Living and a new Killam School. That's the and. And it could be in a very, very, very similar timeline in terms of when these things come to the community. And whether they're exactly the same or close, the community needs to know what the implications of each of these things are. Not just the financial implications, but what it means to the community, what it means to the constituents, the 60+ community, the students, all those different pieces. So I think the more what you folks are already doing in terms of communication, and all those pieces are really critical so that the community knows what we need to do, what those priorities are, what they mean, and how to take it forward.
Thank you, Mark. I was so glad to see that FinCom forum myself. I just, that's all I'm gonna say. It was perfect, I thought. No answers, but it certainly laid everything out on the table in a factual manner that people could respond to. It was very, very well done. Kudos to FinCom. All right. Wow. So that we can check 2 off there. Recalc and select board. Let me ask one more time, Mark, anything else?
You folks have been great. Is there anything I forgot that has been going? I mean, there are lots of little things happening in the background, but I think those are the big ones.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll talk about some of the things that we've done later on in the agenda, but oh, and actually we can check the third one off too. It says, it actually should say Recal work group update. And the Recal work group has not been meeting because everything's in this state of flux. Which is one of the reasons why I thought it was worthwhile to put this on paper so that everybody could kind of see where we are and how all the moving pieces were moving. So we can check that one off, unless anybody has any questions. And once again, I wrote this wrong, Karen. It's not the
Mystic
Valley Elder Services.
If you just put MVES, you'll never have to think about it again, and that's the acronym.
Any update you'd like to share with us?
They were really talking a lot about their budget process. And I'm sorry, I'm coughing a little bit. It's just the allergies. Oh, the pollen is terrible. And just their redesignation process. So I really don't have anything pertinent to bring back to this team today. We have another meeting Thursday.
The next item on the agenda is COA board vacancies. Sad to say, Nancy Twadros is leaving us.
Who approved that?
I know.
I'm literally dreading this meeting for like the whole month. Honestly. No, honestly, this has been such a great experience for me. I just enjoyed working with all of you so much. Everyone is awesome and so passionate about the senior community, as am I. I've just made the very difficult decision to try to focus a little bit more on what I'm passionate about, which is hands-on serving the seniors. And so I want to start volunteering a little bit more and being a little bit more involved in that way. And with the limited time I have, I'm just being very kind of mindful of that. So that's the only reason, but I really enjoyed my time. And thank you so much for having me for the last 2 years.
Were your ears ringing today? Your
Oh,
name, your name was taken in vain at the Friends of Reading 60 Plus meeting today.
In vain.
Uh, As someone that is very knowledgeable on Google Docs and Gmail and all that kind of stuff.
You know, I'll still help with that. I mean,
Yeah.
but anything one off, I'm happy to help anytime. Easy peasy.
Okay. Great.
You know that, Nancy. We talked about it. So
And Jackie Behenna is also leaving us. Jackie has, I don't know if you're there, Jackie, if you want to say a few words.
Here.
We'll miss you.
Yeah, unfortunately my job has just gotten a little too demanding. So unfortunately I just can't devote as much time as I would like to this committee. But hopefully in the future that will change. I'm actually doing work as we are meeting now. So yeah, just a little more than I expected, because I moved into a new position. So, but hopefully in the future that will change and there will be a position open and I will be back.
Great. We will all remember that.
I think there's a secretary needed right now.
Oh,
I
no.
know, so everybody really needs to think about that. We're not gonna make an nomination today, but it's something we do need one, so.
And actually, all the positions are only for 1 year, so FY 25 will start with our next meeting. Go through the exercise, but hopefully we'll have reappointments, people who continue to be interested in their.
Yeah,
This one's just
everybody-
Plain empty.
Everybody who is up for, whose
Term is up.
term was up, because you were an incumbent, right? You would just automatically put back into. the pool.
Actually, it has to go to select board to be approved, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they just,
They didn't
you
interview.
didn't have to interview.
Right.
But I interviewed today
Good.
because I am interviewed for Nancy T's position.
Great.
Secretary?
No.
I can do that. Who wants to be chair? Which then puts me back into a voting position as opposed to an associate. If you remember, I moved to an associate when I was on the Board of Registrars. I'm no longer on the Board of Registrars, so I'm going to go back as a voting member. So that means we will have 3 associate positions open. I think it's 3. Or Linda O'Connor's is 1. So I think we'll have 2 associate positions. So if anybody knows anybody,
There's a fellow who applied a while back, John, and he hasn't heard anything from an interview.
No, he pulled out. He was offered an interview and he said he changed his mind while I was still chair. And he pulled out.
I was with him today.
That's what he directly told me. So if he's changed his mind, it's been 2 years now, so, but back then I followed up.
Oh, yes, he has reapplied.
Oh, okay.
He's reapplied within the last 3 weeks or so.
Oh, okay, so he's starting a whole new
Tall
one.
fellow.
So he's starting a whole new one. Yeah, no, back then he applied and he pulled out.
What's the one at Wyatt Country?
well, they were interviewing, so
Well, there was
every,
a cutoff date, maybe he missed it.
I-
June,
yeah.
I think you had
So-
to submit an application by, that's when,
Not up to June 15th yet. This May.
no, May 15th.
Because we have.
Sorry, Rosemary, I thought you meant the guy that,
No, that's okay.
because at the time we kept hearing, they never call me, they never call me, so I called
I've
him.
asked him, have you been?
Yeah,
He'd
okay.
say no.
I believe you, because I'm thinking back, because
So, but we do have, we will, well, if I'm appointed, yeah,
it's an association.
yeah. So, unless he's appointed, voting
Is
member,
there
but
any-
anyways, we'll find out.
How do we make the general public or even the 60+ seniors aware of positions that are open if they have an interest to do this
The
volunteer?
select board made an announcement, it's been in the Chronicle.
Has it been in Pleasantries?
I was thinking about
It's
that,
been in the pleasantries, but we can put it in the e-blast.
That'd be great,
If
yeah.
someone writes something up, I can put it in the e-blast on Thursday morning.
that'd be great.
I think that would be a good.
Yeah. So that would be good. So Chris, you're up.
All right, start with the report. We had another really good month, as you can see, up until May. I don't know what to say, the team at the Pleasant Street Center has been doing amazing. As you can see at the top, the highlights, May highlights, we had a great Mother's Day tea. Thanks to Anna. Storyteller, we had a Jeopardy night with Bridging Generations, which was a good event. Lunch and Learn, birthday lunch, Lions Club had their annual dinner, May 16th in the evening, which is always nice. Thank you to the Lions Club for putting that on again. It's a great event, good turnout, everyone seems to like it. What was actually really nice is we had birthday lunch and Lions Club dinner on the same day. So it was really nice because we had, I think, 50 people for birthday lunch, and we had 60 people, or right around 60 people for a Lions Club dinner. So it's nice that it showed that we can kind of do 2 large events on the same day. I don't want to do it every day, but we can do it, which is nice. We had our health fair on May 15th. I want to say thank you to Elise Warren, who started off getting the health fair organized, and then I had taken it over. But it was a really good event, and thank you to Elise for getting that started before she left. So thank you, Elise. Really appreciate her efforts in that. But we had a great health fair this year. I'm forgetting the number off the top of my head. Really good turnout. People liked the flow. We kind of changed up the setup a little bit, but it ran really smoothly, and it was a really good day. So health fair was really good. And then we had a mental health presentation on May 29th with Tanya over from the police department, which was really nice. So, thank you to the staff for, what they're doing and bringing into the center. As you can see, the numbers are great. We were at 3,280 duplicated. And what's even more exciting was, 2 things I'm really excited about is, my average, like I've said before, was 3,000 a month. And right now we just ticked up to just over 31 to 3,107 per month of duplicated interactions, which is really good. And I didn't think we'd get to this point this year, but we're on, if I project correctly, at the end of this fiscal year, at the end of June, May, we were at 34,320 interactions. And we will not, I don't think we'll get over 38,000, but we will get probably 37,500, right around that ballpark, which is really, really good. So kudos to the staff and all their efforts and everything they do. As you can see, something that I did not add, which actually shifts the numbers a little bit, but I do have them in the tally on the duplicated side, is you can start seeing, thanks to Janet, our volunteer coordinator, I put in the number of volunteers that have been coming to the center now. She started in December, we just started, we started getting numbers just from January. We did have some volunteers before then, but we just decided to start in January. So you can see, she's bringing in at least around 40 volunteers a month, which is great. And in the past,
How many?
about 40.
Some
About 40 volunteers, and we're up to almost just 199 volunteers for 5 months, which is really good. So thank you to Janet and her efforts in bringing in a lot of volunteers. It's been really good.
How is she reaching out to people to volunteer?
We put it in, I think we had it in the pleasantries, we had an e-blast, all our normal avenues that we've done. I think the town's put it in the paper. People are seeing it. So, all the normal avenues that we use to get the word out.
I would think word of mouth must really work well on
Word
this
of-
too. If
and
you
word of mouth
have
is good,
volunteered,
too.
it's fun. Come with me next time.
PSD updates is, we hopefully this month, maybe next month, we'll get the AV system installed, which is good. That'll be, like I said before, new projectors, screen, mics, being able to conferencing in the great room, new speakers, and a hearing system in the great room, which will be really nice. So I'm excited. We're just waiting for the equipment to arrive, and then we have to just find a time where they can have a couple days to get it installed. So really, the projector will be brighter so we can see it better in the daylight, with a better screen, which is also nice. Because of that, I want to say thank you to the library. We've been using their portable sound system because our current system is down at the moment. And since we have one coming in, we're just close that we're just going to wait until we get the new system in to get it, the portable systems working well. Memory Cafe, we're going to take a break for the summer, reevaluate it, and then bring it back in the fall. We're going to bring it back to the Pleasant Street Center and host it at the Pleasant Street Center, but we're just going to take a couple months off of it and see some of the challenges. All towns are doing it. Stoneham has one, I think Wakefield's starting one. So it makes it a little bit hard. So really it's either people from other towns or, because everyone else is doing it, you kind of have to grab people from within your town. And it's always hard to say what'll happen with that. So, we're working on the Memory Cafe. I think I had mentioned, thank you to Carrie. We've officially transferred all the Lifeline participants to Winchester Lifeline, which has been great. They've been a great company, and it's been working really well. We have a new printing company for the pleasantries. I didn't realize, I didn't realize, but I wasn't told that the company we were using got bought out by another company. Well, sold to another company. So it's why the pleasantries has been kind of late, because I didn't know. So, and then we had some snafus when last month, the first month, I'm giving this company a couple more months, but they shipped our newsletters to, I don't know, some other senior center out west.
Nice.
And I was like, that's not us. So hopefully, we will have that back up and running for the next round of pleasantries.
And
So
we can expect to see people from Wisconsin coming to our events.
I was only in Massachusetts. It was like an hour away west of here.
Okay.
But I'm like, that's not us. Let's try a little bit harder, folks. A lot of great things in June. You can kind of go down through. We started chair volleyball on Thursdays. It's been pretty fun, which is great. Nancy's doing Let's Get Digital, the kiosks presentation in June here coming up. Birthday lunch and learn, another intergenerational program. Father's Day lunch this week. We have a big Hillview luncheon this Wednesday at Hillview Country Club in North Reading. Pizza was last week, and we have an Alzheimer's. We had an Alzheimer's presentation on June 5th. So our numbers are really good. I'm really excited for what we're doing in the space we have and with the staff we have. I mean, the staff is great. So that is my report. I apologize. I do not have financials or ARPA. Yes, Jenna told me how to grab them. But I quickly learned in the past month with been out for a couple weeks and everything, and something had to give. If you want to know about them, please let me know and we'll show them to you, but we'll get them to you next month. That's all I could do.
Question,
Yes.
what is Winchester Lifeline? I thought the hospital I'd seen earlier was taking it over, but.
Yeah, Winchester Lifeline is that little help I can't get up button
No, I know what
Oh,
the
yeah.
button is, but what's the company?
out of Winchester Hospital.
So it is Winchester, so
Yeah,
that's
Winchester
Lady.
Hospital.
So Lady's
Lady.
running this now?
It's always been
been-
Winchester Hospital has their.
Their own. I have to double check. I think
Winchester is part of.
part of Leahy now. So yeah, it's part of Leahy, but it's
Who
through
has,
Winchester
there's
Hospital.
money, that's our old hospital. trust
Yeah,
me.
it comes
Do
out of
we give
that.
it to I'm just trying to understand.
They bill us.
They bill us.
They bill us for the number of participants, and
So
then
they
that is
screen
paid.
people and say, yes, you're eligible.
Yes, there's an application process that Carrie does. You have to be a Reading resident,
Okay.
and you need a button for safety.
Is it
Okay.
based on need, financial need?
I think it's medical.
I think it's medical,
I think it's actually
So-
both.
maybe a little bit.
Both.
ATS, both. ATS transportation is financial, although with ATS, yes, there's a limit, but people who are over that financial limit can also get a ride. They just have to pay a little bit. They pay more. But yes, it's out of that hospital fund.
Okay, so
That
they're just billing and we pay out of the fund. We didn't
Yes.
give money to Lady.
no, we don't give them money.
Well, we must be paying Lady to do, that's what the billing is, to do the screening.
Well, Carrie does the application process, and then we give them Winchester Hospital the application to say, look, you need to set them up with a
Okay,
button, and then they go out and set the system up. And then once the system's set up, they start billing us. And then if something happens and the person doesn't need it or passes away,
okay,
they go off.
okay.
So,
I have no issue, I just wanted to understand what the new dynamic is.
yep, it hasn't changed. From the previous company did the same thing.
Okay,
That was, I think originally was Phillips Lifeline, then just Lifeline.
Okay.
But Winchester Lifeline they have been so much better to work with. They've been amazing, especially even with their billing. It's just been great. So, and they've been really responsive,
Good.
which is really nice.
I have a
Good
question.
question.
Yeah, thank you. So I know Reading Rec did a program for pickleball that did you know anything about it through Reading Rec?
Yeah, you had told me about the, for older adults.
Right, it was for
Yep.
60+. So Jack Drinkwater did do it through Reading Rec and you signed up. And so 8 people, I mean, you could take 8, so both sessions signed up and it was only an hour. And I'm wondering if there's any way that can be extended.
Well, I had asked, I was in one of the classes and
Yeah.
it was fabulous.
Yes, but he said 1 hour is not enough.
Because because we had so many questions and we did go over. But I think it's something that, I said, okay, when's the next one? I thought I was gonna go again this week or something. But there are going to be classes coming up, I think 6 classes, but not until July.
Yeah.
They're
Can
working
there be
them out.
ARPA funding for this, for the 60+ community?
The next one you're gonna have to pay for, which is gonna be minimum, but
So what we've been doing is because Recreation was handling pickleball and doing the registration, we just decided that it would just be easier to keep it on their end. I don't see why it can't be extended. I'm not sure about the fundings part of it. That's something that we can discuss. Yeah. I don't see any reason to discuss it.
You and
And-
who would discuss, you
Well,
and Jenna?
I think Jenna and then.
Yeah.
Cause you told me about it, then we just decided we'll just let it go on rec because they're the ones that have, organized with the courts. They have, they know the courts, they have the system, so,
But it would be nice to see a partnership, like.
yeah,
I went today, I was in the building today for the bingo and the line for the lunch, totally new faces I'd never seen.
Yep.
There's so we just wanna make sure we're including all different types of active people. So like there's different faces for the 60+ pickleball
Definitely.
community.
yeah. We have no problem in trying to push pickleball. There's no issue. I thought it was a good idea and it worked out really well. It filled up really quickly. And because it filled up really quickly, we, I mean, if you want to extend it, happy to.
we did go to Parker
Yep.
indoors. And there is a portable tent, I mean, a tent. Net. Which you wonder if we could get volunteers, or maybe if they said, have a couple of knowledgeable pickleball people that would volunteer and then bring the seniors in, or even find another location to say, okay, we can purchase this net and have volunteers who are experienced in this.
They can't do that because they needed to have insurance coverage and that's why it has to be somebody who's a town employee. Or
It has to be a town and,
it has to be someone covered by insurance and the volunteers are not.
oh, okay.
Just something else to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
On a side note, I would encourage everybody here, if you haven't put your name on the rec mailing list, to do so. Because I thought I had put my name, but I wasn't getting anything. And on another matter, I was talking to, can't remember his name, the head of rec, what's his name?
Jim.
Jim.
Sullivan.
I was talking to Jim and he said, no, you're not on a mailing list. And I said, oh, that's why I'm not getting them. But anyways, I would encourage, and I would encourage any other seniors that it might be worthwhile to put in the pleasantries. Because
Yeah.
there are activities there that they could sign up.
I've also noticed the school has been upping their programming and activities. And I've been getting the emails. I think it's community education, kind of like Arlington. But some of it's geared towards kids, but I think I've noticed some of it is for adults too. And I think I've seen financial things and just a different array. I can't keep track of it all, but you know, that might be also being something else to,
I
Is it-
think
on
those
to.
come out with the rec, on the rec email.
do they?
Activities,
Okay.
yeah, because I've seen the couple that I've gotten now.
Is it
Yeah.
readingrec.gov.org,
I don't know,
.ci,
you just
whatever?
need to Google, go to the town website.
Yeah,
Go to
Okay.
the rec department, and it's gonna direct you to a different
Okay,
site.
okay, all right.
The other thing
I
too,
also checked Nancy to make sure, and I spoke with Sue, and she's confirmed
Yeah,
my email.
yeah.
the DCR, I keep forgetting that this is the senior parking pass. Has that been ever put in the Pleasantries? Cause you know, you pay one time and then you get into any of the DCR locations in the state. Anyone 62 and over, and I could have done this years ago and I haven't. So.
okay,
What does the DCR say? Department of
Parks.
Yeah.
Is that for the $10?
Yeah, it's $10
I did that
lifetime.
last year.
Lifetime.
we could definitely put it on the e-blast. My problem is right now is, we're gonna have to expand the pleasantries. We're working on that. Cause we're just out of space, which is a good thing to have. It's a great, but we're gonna have to add, probably, you add 4 more pages. So we're,
That's costly then too.
no, it doesn't cost us anything. The pleasantries, we don't pay for anything with pleasantries, the
Okay.
print or anything.
Because
They get ads, that's why we have ads in the newsletter. That, the ads that the company gets covers the costs of the printing and getting them to us. But we just, because we're so busy, the staff only has so much time, so we're working on that. I know Jenna and Anna's been working on it. I think they've been working on a little bit of a redesign of the pleasantries too, with another volunteer intern student.
Well, that is something, Chris.
Yeah, but I know we have another one on our side, so I know you
Right,
have
right.
one.
You still
Yeah.
have St. John's?
I think we have someone maybe from Austin.
Okay.
So anyhow, we just have to watch because I am, every time Anna gives me the newsletter at the end of the month, I am tweaking and finding space. So bear with us, we will get there.
What about just doing
so-
a basic 8x10 flyer
We could, yeah, we could,
versus having to keep on going
Yeah.
in and tweaking that?
yeah, and we might do that. So anyhow, we're exploring that. Just bear with us because we're trying to get all the programs that we want to promote out. And then more things keep coming in and we just don't have enough time. So bear with us as we get there.
Oh, that might be a good spot for another volunteer.
Yeah. So,
As we get further along with the permanent building committee and focus on us, once we get more focused, I think it's too early to do it. If you're looking for stuff to fill the whole 4 pages, because I know suddenly you've got too
Yeah.
much room, it might be just a monthly sort of flow chart maybe where it doesn't require much work to update it once we get it designed, just to keep people
Yeah.
aware. It gets a lot of visibility.
so anyhow, it's really
6 more
good.
months
But,
till the town meeting.
but the weekly e-blast is a good place to.
Yeah.
Because that goes out to everyone that gets the newsletter anyway, same mailing list to the pleasantries and
Yeah.
then beyond, so. Yeah. Cool.
Good. Thank you. Excellent report.
Just want to add that the Friends probably will be asking for space.
Yes,
Put together something
I
for
did,
donation.
Had an ad in this month.
well, they hadn't had, but,
Yeah.
They're gonna,
they're going to, I did just get approval. I always double check to make sure everything I do is, good to go.
Yeah.
The Friends Group had a meeting today. And I did tell them that they can put in a lot of the local, like a lot of towns in their senior newsletter like ours, they have a little piece that says, you know, hey, we're here. So that we're gonna try to fit that in probably on the back of the insert this, I mean.
they have a nice letter that Nora wrote.
Yeah.
And they're thinking that would be because it really lays out the mission and what they're gonna do and
Great.
Sweet.
They got,
Should we just talk about, sorry, it's on the agenda. Should we just talk about the friends and, oh, that's friends and family, sorry.
yeah.
Friends and
No, but what I did send out to everybody, but I said we wouldn't talk about it on the agenda, was I sent out to everybody kind of all the materials that were used in today's meeting discussion. I mean, excellent, excellent progress they're making.
I have to say, I want to thank the Friends group. They have been an amazing bunch, and I am just amazed at what they've been able to accomplish in 12 months. You know, they went from Nancy making one talk, like we went from like absolutely nothing and Nancy making one announcement to having a Friends group in less than 12 months. And you know, they're getting some donations in, and they have done an amazing job. So kudos to the.
I think it's up
That's
to
great.
1,400. There was a $1,000 donation
Oh,
from
nice.
the Rotary. And then there were a couple that there's a 500 donation and a 200 donation. And then at Friends and Family Day, Nora and Barbara had a bowl there. And I
I
forget
think it
what
was
she said.
47, 54.
Something like that.
But still,
Yeah, so it was
Do
cool.
whatever. it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent group.
Good.
Good. Shall we move on to the projects we've been working on? Newspaper outreach?
I've reworked the letter to the editor that we all worked on last month. It went well over 250 words once I had everyone's input. So I've got it done. The last thing I just need to do, Mark disappeared. Chris.
Yes.
At the meeting of recalc, when you were merging the two things, there was discussion going on what the official numbers are that we want to consistently cite for square footage of what we have and the other. I want to make sure it aligns, because I've got those numbers with what you guys are also gonna say, because
So
it depends, we all know, but if you say program room is this, you say the whole building inside, is it usable, and they were trying to get consistent numbers, so I want our letter to say the same thing, so.
they went back to the 4,000 some
They did.
square footage.
Okay, great.
What had happened, just to give everyone a quick update on that, is I actually calculated our usable program space. And if you add, depending on if you add the kitchen on the first floor or not, that's 250 square feet. If you add that, it's 2,549 is our total usable program space that we have. If you take out the kitchen, 2,549 minus 250 is 2,249, I think it is, usable program space. That's, I mean.
So if I say,
But anyhow, what we did is we went to 4, I'll get it to you in a second, I'll get you the number.
okay, it was up to 6,000 at one time, and I was like, I'm gonna wait till they sell, because we wanna be aligned, because we don't disagree, we just don't wanna throw out numbers that someone's going,
Yeah.
And I'm comparing it to, in the letter, I talk about other towns, and I did my homework and double checked. The new one being built in Wilmington, they're describing that, and I believe that's footprint of the building, so it's not just program space, it's 18,000 square feet. I believe from what I've seen, and again, that it includes administrative and everything else, the one in North Andover is 12,000 and the one in Andover is about 15,000. So the letter's gonna say 12,000 to 18,000, but that's that's big picture football. I just wanna make sure we're doing apples to apples and being consistent, and then that letter can go. I'll run it by you once more, but no.
Less, what they're saying right now is less than 4,550 square feet.
Less than 4,550 square feet. And they're of what, usable, total?
Of usable space.
Of usable, okay. More words going into that 250, I'll carve something else out. It's a challenge writing these things and staying under 250. All right, so that letter to the editor I can get out this week. And I'll charge into the next one.
Great. Good. The rolling screen. Has anybody did anybody go out and take a look at it?
I think I did. I was trying to figure out, when I was writing the minutes, I was remembering I was supposed to do all this.
One of the things that I did was I set my iPad up in front of it. So I took a movie of it, but it is really big file.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how to share my file on Google and give
That's where I
you
looked at.
all
That's where I looked at it.
and give you all permission
Yeah.
to access it. And it would be for May's rolling screen. But just so that people, if you haven't actually gone out to RCTV to look at it, just so you could see it.
You're talking
So,
about the loop?
yeah.
Yes.
Where, you mean the loop at the building itself?
No, this is the pleasantries. We're,
Right, okay.
yeah.
The
So
one that,
why do we have to go to RCTV to see it? Isn't it on, isn't it
No,
on the
it's not,
channel?
it's not pleasantries, it's the guide to TV program.
no.
No, all right.
This is what we did with the internship Reading Memorial High School student. He took the pleasantry,
Oh.
Chris sends the student the final copy, and the student takes it and prepares it for RCTV viewing.
Oh,
So we've had this on RCTV for April and May. So we want to get music, so Nancy's grandson nicely developed some background music, so Nancy was doing a trial of our May
With the May, with the.
so we're
with the
sending it to
music.
us.
But
So
I have to figure out, Nancy, I have to figure out how I can put it on Google and I know I can do this because I've done it before, but I did it 50 billion years ago. So I just need to figure out how to use my Google account. And then I can make a file, I can send you all a link, and all you have to do is press the link. That way, you don't have to go out and find the schedule on RCTV
To view it.
to view it.
so maybe that's something where are we on this topic now?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
So as of the end of May, our assigned intern from the high school, Audrey, graduated. So we were in search of hopefully, what do we do now with the summertime? So one of the guidance administration had told me months ago there was a possibility of a junior who is a graphic designer. That's his technology knowledgeable and interest. So we did meet with him, and he is volunteering for the balance until the school year begins again. And not necessarily getting any credits, but we did state to him to please check with the guidance counselor, perhaps you might get community service credits. So Brandon, we met with Brandon last week, we invited Chris, we met at the PSC, and Brandon just received, I think on Thursday or Friday of last Thursday, the final copy of the June newsletter. So I had informed him and contacted him this morning, waited to hear back, because he will send Nora and myself a draft copy before we proceed to RCTV. Did mention to him that we would like to have music in the background of this, so he's also going to be working on that. And I did send email to Angela and Rob at RCTV, giving them the update of our new intern and his email and going back and forth on that. So I'm waiting to hear from Brandon. I sent this morning, so hopefully I'll hear soon of the update that he just received last week. And Brandon will gladly, and we sat with him because it was a carryover from our first intern doing a logo for Council on Aging. We have 4 draft copies, but Brandon is going to work on that with his thoughts, being a graphic designer. and present them, and then we will pass them on for your view if this is something you want to go forward with. But he is willing to assist.
Nice.
So at the finance forum, I did speak with the superintendent of schools. And he wanted to know what our thoughts was on the intern. I said, it's a fabulous, fabulous program. I said, my only thing is, I would love to see them start November or beginning of January. Because I personally found, and I think Nora agrees, toward the end of the year, these are seniors that are into testing. They're going to visit schools, so more stress on them. But our intern, Audrey, was fabulous.
What month did she start?
We didn't start this until mid-April.
Okay, so this is much earlier. It'd be much
Right,
better
and
for
then
them.
we'll be having, and this is only the second year that the high school is doing this. They will be having another vendor fair. I found out the day before there was a vendor fair, and that's when I met Janet, and Janet, the volunteer coordinator, found out. I mean, there are 20 to 25 actually businesses there that these students and vendors with each other. So I think this is something going forward, whether someone wants to come and volunteer and see what happens. But it's very exciting to see the creativity that these students have. So that's where we're at. We're waiting to hear back from Brandon, again, being in the end of the year and finals and the whole thing. So we'll go. The June newsletter will not, since it was late, not be out on time.
To
But
go on the loop, you're trying to
Yes,
get this
to
on.
put it on the
Or
RCT.
music in the background.
Right. So we will go forward with that. But Brandon is willing to help out with graphic designs again for flyers or whatever. So that's where we're at.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that's great.
Yeah. Moving on to open houses. Kudos to Karen F, Karen P, and Jean, and everybody else who was there to volunteer, and work. Karen, you want to say a few words? I mean, they were
No, I
fabulous.
wasn't at the last one.
Wasn't at the last.
So, all
He sent
right.
out the wonderful instructions. He's like, I won't be there. but
So
you're gonna
sorry,
visit."
I know. I'm like, am I being like micromanaging? Like, I just wanted to make sure everyone
No,
was
it was really
have
helpful.
a little guidance. How many people ended up coming?
20, I think.
I don't think it was
Yeah.
that many.
But they stayed a long time and asked lots of questions. I mean, they were the kind of people that really
Yeah.
wanted to learn, and they got to learn a lot. and
Good,
really
good.
We
appreciated
had
it.
Nancy Zimlack out on the sidewalk with her
She
pom
really did.
pom.
But we have to realize this was the day after
Graduation.
Friday night was graduation.
Yeah. It was a beautiful day.
And
It was.
baseball was starting.
Baseball, so all of that working
Yeah.
against us, but
Well, there's always gonna be something.
Yeah.
But there was a
It's
gentleman
not-
that came in with his son.
Yes,
that wanted-
yes, that
the son got him signed up for all sorts of stuff and.
Good, good.
I have to say, like, I know the turnout's like, we're getting maybe 15, 20, I think one we had got up to 30. But regardless of that, I have to say, like, the conversations alone.
Yeah.
I know I have, and I believe you all have as well, like, I've had really good conversations that I normally would not have with any other time. With people, I know the one guy from FinCom came on this past open house, and I had a 20 to 30 minute conversation, which I never would have. So regardless of how many people are come, there is very valuable conversation going on.
There's also so much to say they can read about it, they can watch our video, but seeing it. And I was escorting someone around, and we were in our so-called lounge, which I explain is called the lounge because it has a coffee pot. And they chuckle, but I said, it's about a dozen, people fit, and he saw the closed doors the other, so, oh, but I bet you can open these, and he did, and there were all the desks, and it was, oh. just quietly closed the door. But you know, until you see it, it's hard to really understand. And he did, and he really appreciated it. It was like, I'm getting it,
We
you know?
actually do open those doors.
I know, I explained that to him and I said, and then you can't see the teacher, you can't hear and.
Exercise.
And
Yeah.
people are sitting right next to Janet.
Yep, I explained that to him. He got it. He really appreciated it, but it's one of those things we could have written about it for 5 pages and he probably
Right.
said, yeah.
Pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yes.
And hopefully he goes back to, he's on the FinCom, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he goes back and he talks about it,
Yeah,
to other folks. And that
Exactly.
right there is, yeah, we're reaching, let's say 15 to 30,
yeah,
but who knows how many more we're reaching outside when we
Yeah.
talk to folks.
exactly.
It's really good.
It was really good.
It was good.
But while we're on that note, something that we should probably check into, even though we had voted on trust money to purchase
Oh,
refreshments,
that's right. Okay.
we need to look and have someone look into that. The first time around, we had, my expense was like 200 and some odd. And of course, I paid for the sandwiches with a credit card because I didn't have 170 in cash. But we were told that I was reimbursed, but if I were to submit another expense report, I'm gonna get a W-9.
We were all.
If it goes over
A
600.
couple meetings
If it
ago.
goes over
Why,
600.
we need to check into that. If we need to go out and purchase items,
No, you're not doing it, providing a service, you're getting reimbursed for expenses, that's different.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the
what we're
finance
told.
department doesn't wanna do it. They want us to go through Jenna and through Chris, is my
So
understanding.
what happened the last tour, I met Chris at 8:15 at Market Basket. He
Yeah, they
hands
do.
me his credit card.
Yeah.
Morning, Dave.
Okay, so that's not right.
No, that doesn't make sense, that's not,
No, it doesn't. So
W-9s are for services provided.
And,
Right.
yeah, and you'll totally mess up
Yeah.
your income tax if you're suddenly a
Yeah.
W-9, you'll be paying self-employment tax, which you
Right.
don't want to be doing.
I can bring that up with Jenna. I just made a note of it.
That'd be
I
good.
think I think she gets back tomorrow, so
Okay,
this week I'll talk to her about it and we'll clarify, just
This
to
is
make
not-
sure.
this is not new, it goes back a couple
It
of
goes
years.
way back, cause I was on COA back in, I think, 2010. And if we were having birthday parties, was a Market Basket
Credit card.
gift card
card.
that was passed around. Okay, I'll pick up the birthday cake.
Right,
That is not the way it needs to be done.
Right.
well, we can't even do that anymore. I asked about that and Jenna said, I don't think they're gonna wanna do that even.
Is it because they do not want to set up a different ledger on the accounting system?
I think so. I think they don't wanna have each of us separate people that they're paying to, is my understanding.
But if we're taking and voting on funds,
I understand. I think
this
they
is
should.
just me
They
out
can
loud
doing
saying
it
it.
through Chris is the,
So
yeah.
why don't we have our own separate little accounts?
We don't have any operating funds.
Why can't we take them from the trust
Well,
funds?
it
From the
sounds,
trust funds?
it sounds like right now, we don't have an answer.
Right.
We have a lot of suggestions. Chris is going to go have a conversation
Okay.
with Jenna.
Yeah.
And then we will all have a conversation
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And of course, if you have any little suggestions, just email Chris. He'll love to get them.
Move forward.
The other thing we should do, by memory, but I don't know that I ever saw it in writing, it should be in one of the minutes, was how much money we did approve. We approved a chunk of money for this.
1,500.
1,500, I think, was
Was
my
it?
recollection.
Okay,
for
we
the-
just need, I don't know if someone's keeping a tally
And I
of,
think we do
How
have
far
money,
we
left. We have
There-
money, Jenna
there
said we have
was.
money left over.
Jenna put one together.
And that's part of that's part of my note too, is just to see when she gets back here. My note is to see how much we've spent out of that 1,500.
okay, because that's not ARPA money, that's
So what is
Yeah.
she
Burbank money.
calling it?
Yeah,
Calling it
Chris-
Burbank, it's coming out of Burbank.
It's
Burbank.
when Jenna and I spoke before, her nuptial, she had mentioned at that time we had about, I think, 400 or 500 left
Okay,
out of that 1,500. So if we wanted to do something additional other than to promote we possibly could. I think the last tour, I think we only spent about 20 some odd dollars.
Right, because we
So
had
we
a
were
lot of
around
the stuff
300. We had
left over.
yeah.
All right, so Chris will get back to us on exactly what the reimbursement process sooner will be. All right, and last but not least, Friends and Family Day that we had on Saturday. Thank you to Marilyn for picking up the ball. And getting everything there, and Karen Janowski was there, and Rosemarie was there, and
John was there.
John was
And you
there.
were there.
And Chris
A
was
little
there.
bit.
Chris, you slept one of the.
Chris came by and said hello.
As I was chasing my child.
All of the tents, because it was so windy, the tents were blowing up
Like
off the
balloons.
ground. You had to hold
Oh
the
my
pole.
gosh.
And one lady got hit.
They took her out in an ambulance.
Oh,
She looked
yeah.
like she was moving around, but still.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not staked into the ground.
Well, apparently they can't, they're weighted. I don't know why they can't stake them.
They can't stake them because of the irrigation system.
Oh.
in the field. So they have to use weights. So I think they'll probably be heavier weights.
It was particularly windy that day.
It was. I have to say, I was
Yeah.
leaving right when all the tents were starting to fly, and I was like,
Yeah.
all right, it's just.
We took ours down just about 1 o'clock and called it a day. I drove through there around 2 3/4 of them were gone. There are maybe half a dozen tents left up. They probably put all the weights on those 6 tents or whatever to hold them down. And there were no fireworks this weekend. For some
Yeah.
reason, they postponed them.
Can I ask, did you pass out all of the
Gyro.
the jar
Yeah, the
openers?
No, we
Yeah.
still have some jar, we have a pile of jar openers that are just jar openers and not attached to anything. We've got a small pile of ones that you stapled to the materials
Oh,
left.
good, just a small
Yes,
pile.
I think so.
Oh, so
She's gonna
we
staple, she's
had
gonna
to have
staple it.
given out at least 100.
Oh, yeah, we did. We had a lot of it. We were working the
Yeah.
crowd. We weren't,
Yeah.
it doesn't work if we come to you. You go out there and you're like, someone older in your family.
And then there's probably a couple hundred that blew around to people's houses.
That's
Yeah.
They probably just took flight and.
Back on the topic of, we really have lots of basic education to do about what senior centers are and what the Pleasant Street Center is. And one guy, this very nice gentleman who was very interested, but I started the conversation with somebody, are you familiar with it? Yeah, it's a nursing home, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what
People
they think.
don't know.
They don't know.
We really need to do, aside from the we need bigger, we need to start with, we have a senior center.
They
and
don't
that's-
know we have a senior
I know,
center.
I know, and it's on Pleasant Street, and that's where this is.
Well,
And this is what it
This
is.
Go
gets
ahead,
us
Nancy.
to our
Okay,
kind of into the next topic.
okay.
And I put 3 things on here. One was to talk a little bit about the schematic design process.
Mhm.
Do you remember when we were all here and I passed out the tracing paper with all the things and to cut out? Promotional materials and, we needed a 24 mailing list and the request is in for that. So, but basically what this topic is, and for the promotional materials is what do we want to do next? What do we want to, someone talked about, lawn signs. We talked about lawn signs. I think personally, those are pretty effective if you can get enough of them out there. We talked about, those lightweight nylon,
Backpack.
plastic,
Drawstring.
yeah. So we talk, promotional materials and, we want to be able to put together some kind of calendar. I don't know, this is just an open discussion right here.
I personally think the lawn signs would be very effective. Because there are people, like I just mentioned, they don't know we have a senior center, they think it's a nursing home. And a lot of them don't even know a new one is needed. And we need to promote Council on Aging as advocates for the seniors who need us new seniors. We're gonna be in competition, and I'm sorry, I say this very with a good heart, we need a new school, but we also need a senior center. So as the school, Killam is building their marketing, we need to build ours.
I really like the idea of the lawn signs. I think backpacks,
Yeah.
You take them home, they stay in the door and no one really sees them. I don't want another one. I don't want another bag in my house. Like, it's amazing how many you've collected.
So I think Karen has some
So I
information
did.
for us.
So
on yard
I
signs.
talked to someone who was doing the political signs and they go through Sign 360 or something. But I also went on 4imprint is what they use, the town, so it would make it an easy way. One of them that I pulled up was just a double-sided, the 26, that you see all over the place. And they, for 100, it's about $6.15 a sign. So, and there's no setup charge and, that's 2-color white background, but you can go a million different directions, bigger signs or whatever. I checked with the town website and there shouldn't be any, it's not really a political sign. So there aren't any reason that you can't stick it on your front lawn and keep it there. I mean, if it's political, it has to go 60 days before the election and removed 2 days after, but this isn't necessarily political. So there's no reason that we couldn't put them.
Depends on the wording.
Well, there's a lot that would go into it. I mean, there'd have to be a design and whatever. But it seems a lot of bang for your buck because one sign on one street can hit, I live on Colonial Drive and it goes right to Killam. So people are up and down my street all the time, whereas, other people maybe,
Summer Ave.
you put them on Haverhill Street, people, going by. So I think that gives us a lot of exposure for a little bit of money and you can put them all over town.
And what is the cost? I mean, we
The-
probably would
just-
get a discount the more you purchase. correct?
Right, as you go up in quantity, the price goes down. And then again, it'll depend on the design and this was just a quick
How long does it take for them to do that?
7 days.
Okay.
I mean, it's a quick turnaround that they talk about. They're ready to ship in 7 days. This one here that I was looking at, you could do 2 different colors. The background
And
would be
then-
white and then whatever, but you'd have to, come up with your design or whatever. So that was one, and I thought if we went with that one, at least it's through the town, it's easier to pay for, than you putting it on your credit card and.
The other thing I recall with the jar openers, we could give them the text that we want on it, and then they have their own graphic department who will give you a couple of options for you to approve. So there's a graphic person right there. And the text, type of text and the size of the text.
I think timing is a really big issue.
When do you think?
I continue to feel that I'm all for keeping up the momentum, but I continue to feel we're a little early on in this. That it would make, to me, more sense once we at least are down to the point of which option are we asking select board to approve. Because right now, there's no action for anyone to take. It's just awareness.
But they don't
Now, it
know
depends
how.
on what the message is.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
So if we just want to advertise the senior center and like, oh, what is a senior center? If we had like a website on there, like,
Right.
that you can go to help promote just the senior center, no other reason. So if we promote it enough, then it's in people's minds, people start going, more people are aware, we'll automatically generate more support for the project.
See, I'm thinking, if I were to do the sign, I would just say, new senior center needed.
Are we definitely calling this a senior center?
We don't know that yet.
Well, we don't know that, but we're concerned about right here.
Right, so that's
How is
the
that
thing,
not
I
a
almost feel like
political
there's two
message,
things,
though?
so like right now, it is too early to say we need a new senior center. But it's not too early to say we have a senior center, come check it out.
I don't think it's even too early to say we
think
need
it's
one,
too
and I don't
early.
think
I don't
that's
either.
political, we can't say vote for a new
You
senior
can't even
center.
know,
But I think we
Support.
could
no,
say
support, no, I think if you say support, that
It
can
becomes
also a
political.
voting,
I
a
don't-
voting
I don't
issue.
know, so we'll have to
We'd have to
find
check
out
Yeah.
the town.
I like
wording.
support
Yeah.
new senior
Yeah.
center.
Maybe if we get them
I
printed,
think-
one side says, you want to run around and flip them.
That has more.
But it's not a lot of space, so we just have to be very clear with what we want the
Yeah.
message
Yes.
to be.
Why don't we put our 1880 building needs to be replaced? Have you been to the building or? It's gonna get, that's too much, that's too much, I think.
Right, so they're driving
Just that
past my
1882
house on Haverhill Street.
Right.
What is gonna catch their eye? What are we gonna, how are we gonna draw them
That's
in?
not a
Put the big
political
numbers.
I mean, it's gonna be easier once you know what you're,
That's the problem,
Okay,
we're
that's
we're a
the-
little
yeah.
ahead of the game, not far, but like a month from now, we should be in much better.
cause one site, if there's a site and then there's a name, you can put the name, you can put vote for.
See, I think
Can't
that's
say
too
Well,
much.
or you can,
Yeah.
you know,
That's too
I
much.
think, I, personally, this is my vision, is we, get these signs ready have them ready by August. And start getting them out there so that they're in lawns by September.
Right.
And then we have something on it that says Reading supports active living senior/community center.
Too much, too much.
Period.
Well,
No.
what Chris was just saying is, as the time gets closer, there's gonna be some slang, one-worded word for,
Yeah.
Simon's Way, or, there's gonna be a little word that people will know what it means.
I don't think there is. And I think that what we've been using is active living center. What is missing from there is the word senior.
Mhm.
And we need to include the word senior in there for our own benefit. But personally, if we aren't putting this in place, if we don't have the signs and we're not putting it in place and we don't have it in September, I just think
I
it's
agree with
a
you.
waste of money.
Because then you're gonna run against political signs.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But the
But
thing
there's
is,
nothing to do in September. I mean, all for
It doesn't-
building awareness, it's gonna snow, we are gonna need signs when the vote comes up, we're gonna need signs everywhere.
That's too late.
That's too
you,
late.
you may have to
Somebody
do,
did it.
you may have to do 2 batches, but
Yeah.
you could, and what Nancy was just saying, you could do something like active living center for seniors or something.
Why
Yeah.
couldn't, why couldn't,
It could
That's
be-
a good,
why
you know,
couldn't we just say
which-
senior/community center needed?
Or
something?
support seniors.
We can't say, well,
Well,
support.
they'll think graduation is happening.
Right?
Yeah, I personally think we should get one section, one particular sign out now. I put it out by the beginning of August.
Nancy, are we meeting in
well,
July?
yeah, so that
But-
was, you just read
what
my
if-
mind.
What if we formed a small little group to
design something.
design some things and then bring it back in July so we could take a look at it? And then that gives us time, like you were saying, Nancy, is if we like it, we could get them printed in
7 days.
towards the end of July, August,
Mhm.
and it'd be a good timeline.
What did you just say we should put on the sign? Cause I think that was,
Active living center for seniors.
I like.
yeah, that's
It's-
not political at all.
It could be too small.
It's
No,
just-
no, you
No,
can't,
have
no.
you seen all the political ones that are out there? That's about how many
Well,
words
actually,
that
active
are on
living
those.
center is not just for seniors, that's sort of whole.
I know,
point,
it's
is that-
seniors
Yeah.
slash.
Yeah, but it says seniors active living.
I personally, for me,
We need a committee.
senior/community center needed.
People don't like the word senior. People are not gonna support seniors.
That's why Mark's whole
Community center.
thing in the very beginning was,
To get it
let's
voted.
add community center to it, because
People
that,
Then it
And nobody
reaches
wants
a
to
bigger
even go to a
base.
senior center. I talk to people all the time. They don't wanna go to a senior center. So why
But
can't
plenty
What
of
do they
people
think
do.
a senior center is?
No,
They're
nursing
fucking missing.
home.
Well, see, then
So I think-
it's
Oh,
more the
different
perception that it's a nursing.
So I think this is why we need a little committee to
yeah.
bring up some ideas, because
Yeah,
we're
we can
gonna,
have-
we're gonna be here until midnight at this rate.
We can have 5 people on the committee.
Yep.
How many people want to be on this committee?
Sign committee.
Sign.
Sorry, I like that.
Oh, just sign, just
Sign.
not
Oh,
the
we can do
promotional.
6.
Sign design
Just-
committee.
No, we can't do
We
6
can't lie.
because that's a quorum.
Karen, you should be on,
The next couple of months, I have a major inspection at work and
okay.
2 actually.
Okay, so who else?
I wouldn't want to be able to,
1, 2, 3, 4. Karen.
I would like to see someone from RECALC join us actually as well, because they've got more of that perspective.
Why? This is our.
But it's not. The point is that the sign is gonna support whatever we're aiming for, and we're gonna aim for something that's got some
I mean,
kind of name.
we're making
If it's just
a
replacement of a building that was built in the 1800s. So I think we should just.
But the question is what we're replacing.
Well, I think it goes back to
That's
what
perfect.
Chris said. That's,
It's
okay, so we've got, we've got,
Karen Frontino?
no, Karen.
No, I will.
You will?
Yeah.
Karen.
Thank you.
Karen,
Karen.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We're
Okay.
done.
All right.
But we should be thinking about food, because we're gonna need to do this all over again.
Well, we're gonna talk about it.
The other thing to think about is it could be a political message in September geared towards town meeting, which is in November. That's another thing to think about.
Right.
But it can't be a political message from us, which goes to something else that I've been
Friends can do
thinking
it.
about.
Oh,
Do we need a non-COA committee to begin to do the outreach for this? I don't know. It's
I'm
something
just saying.
is it something that the friends would be better to support that?
Yeah, that's how the
don't-
library did it. They
I don't-
friends.
I'm not sure about the Friends, because the Friends, they have a lot on their plate right now.
Well,
And it's a smaller,
we talked about that today.
Yeah.
And there was concern that by advocating for the senior/community center, it could impact
Yes,
who is going to give money.
exactly.
And I said, well, maybe what we do is have a separate fund aside, like, you know, you can donate just to the furnishings for a new
Yeah.
They
senior
did that for the
center.
library.
They're friends of the library.
They have a
Advocated for
thermometer with the
library.
dollar amount going up.
Yeah, and that wasn't just for furniture. There were
That was
strong things from Friends of the Library.
That's
We
right.
need to expand the
And they-
library.
Yeah,
And
Friends of the Library they've been difficult to get a hold of, at
Okay.
least that's what Joanne and
Okay.
the crew had been telling me, but,
Let's start with this subcommittee and figure out what the needs are, and one is to figure that out clearly.
Yeah.
Because we're restricted and we want to not be.
yeah.
The Stoneham thing, I'll ask for relatives that still live in Stoneham, I'll ask. Stoneham did an amazing job for the new high school, and it was close to the time of the vote. Suddenly, I'd say within 30 days of the vote in the town, every other yard in Stoneham had a big sign, vote for the new high school, and they did.
We're gonna
They-
see
they were
that
desperate.
with Killam.
Right.
I know.
So
Yeah.
we should be ready.
But it's close to the vote, to the
No, but
actual time.
But a school
Yeah,
is different
Yes, yeah.
than a new senior center.
I don't
Right.
think so.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Why?
The support is completely different.
It's
Different.
got a different audience, but it's the same group of voters.
No.
Which goes
Just as
with it.
important.
Anyways, we'll
right?
meet.
Not only that, but the high school's almost done. This is all in the last 12 months, so things just go.
Well, look at Wilmington, how quick they are.
Have you seen it? Drive over there, your jaw will drop.
In Wilmington or Stoneham?
Wilmington, the new senior center they're building,
Oh, the new-
18,000
oh,
square
oh,
feet. It-
Where is it?
The framing is up. If you go all the way to 129 and turn right
Yeah.
onto, that's Main Street.
Yeah.
It's about 3 miles down the road on the right, you'll see it. There's this vast thing going up and it's something like
Humongous.
18,000 square feet.
Okay, so the five of us are gonna meet. We're gonna have to figure out a date. I think what I'm hearing is that we have a meeting in July. Maybe we make this the only agenda item.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. You can still do your reports.
I am
but-
really okay with first.
And not even showing up.
I'm really okay if we shorten the meeting for July.
Okay.
I love you guys, but it's really nice to have one off. But yeah,
You could be on Zoom from vacation land someplace.
no, I think it's, actually, I really do think it's a really good idea though, because just make that the only agenda item and give everyone a,
Yeah,
Voice.
yeah. And we can send out things before the end.
And my other thought, so we can think about this, if we have funds left over or a balance from our tour of $1,500 expense, can we take from
I
that?
don't know, but that's a
We
good
need a new
question.
motion for a new purpose.
No, I think Jenna said we could take it if it's something promoting, like we did with the open
Okay.
house.
Well, it's easy enough, I mean, we just voted it.
Okay.
So, and I just want to put a bug in people's ear. Pull all that stuff out that I handed out at whatever meeting that was, the 13th of May.
Oh, the schematics.
And it's not gonna fit. When you cut it up, it's not gonna fit. But when I did it, I discovered something. And it opened my eyes. So I'm really curious, for people here to take a look at the way that the rooms are currently laid out. And see if you think that's the way it should go.
Do we want
Oh,
to schedule a meeting time to talk about that? I'm deadline driven myself.
are you
so I know I have to-
expanding the July meeting already?
No, it might be August, so it's probably too late, but I'm deadline
I
driven
think we should
personally.
concentrate on the signage and.
Okay. No, but what I think is if everybody just finds an hour, might take you an hour because you have to cut up the little pieces. And just try doing that. It really opened my eyes.
Okay.
And I think it might open other people's eyes in terms of the layout and, I won't go to how it opened my eyes, but it really did. And I'd be curious to see. So I would encourage you, we won't have a meeting about it. We all won't sit here with scissors. But at some point, we need to have a discussion about that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to have it when they start talking about the schematic designs. We want to be able to have some pre-conversations prior to that. So we know we're going into the conversation with a background. Thank you.
I would think we
So-
may also want to, I know there's at least one thing I'd like to see on there that was not in the original schematics in a very systematic way, that I would like to see added. And as I've said and you've said, those were just a starting point to give us
Yeah.
what might be. But I think as we start to think about what really we must have, if you see something missing, we should voice it before
Yeah.
they put the work into doing it.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly what I'm
So
saying.
that probably needs a
And-
meeting
and-
for us to put.
And when
something
you
together.
start
another
cutting
room.
up the little rooms, you're gonna
Another
see,
Yeah.
oh, they don't even have any room that would
Yes.
allow this to happen.
Right.
I saw a lot of holes.
Yeah, and some of the spaces I think are actually too big, but it gets into that divider thing and it just isn't specified. Anyway,
Anyway,
Nancy, that could be
so-
another working group.
Yeah, it needs some sort of meeting to pull people's ideas together into a document.
You could all come to my house with your scissors.
Okay.
I have glue.
Okay, childproof
Did you
scissors.
find maybe the overall square footage was too small?
I found that I didn't too much deal with the existing rooms,
Mhm.
but I thought that where the rooms were placed was not gonna
It didn't
work.
flow.
It didn't flow and there wasn't enough space for the seniors.
Yes, I
And
agree. I
you've
looked
got
at
this shared concept and we've got to think about that.
Okay.
Have a discussion.
Can we ask everybody within the
Okay.
next 2 weeks? We need some deadline to pull it together so that it doesn't just go off into the ozone, you know, within the next 2 or 3 weeks or by next month's meeting. Everyone does this.
Well, so, whoa,
We need structure.
July. Here it is. July, if we were to have a all group meeting, our monthly meeting, it would be on July 8th.
Who did first?
No, it's
No,
not.
it's
Second.
Second Monday,
Monday.
okay.
Yeah, plus everybody's would
The
probably
Is
be.
that the week?
I wasn't able to get
Is that
reports done on the first week, so
Yeah.
that's why we moved to the second.
Well, yes and no.
Can we do it the Wednesday?
Or how about we just maybe make it the 15th?
All right.
I don't know, what if people's calendars?
That works.
My calendar says COA special meeting, because I put them in for every
Oh,
Monday, you
yeah.
said.
And we are, take those all out.
Oh, okay, thank you, Karen, because I thought.
Well, let's just keep one for the 15th.
Yeah,
That's what,
yeah,
keep it for the
and make
15th.
that the monthly meeting,
And we're gonna focus on posters at that,
yeah.
or signs, lawn signs.
All right, so Monday, the 15th is the next monthly meeting.
All right, when do you wanna, when do we wanna talk about the?
We're in June.
We're in June.
Oh,
Yeah.
Today is June's
thank
meeting.
you. Nancy, the other thing is you might wanna do on that meeting, if we're gonna do signage, do you put vote in parentheses in case we need to vote for funds?
Yep.
Okay.
And when would you like to talk about the schematic stuff after we all do our cut and paste?
Well, wait a minute. So what about this group, small planning group
Oh.
of 5?
Okay,
How about, I'm just gonna randomly, what about, the last week, either the week of the 17th or the week of the 24th?
which month are you in?
June?
Which month?
Yeah, June.
Oh,
Cause we would wanna meet before the 15th.
and before PPC makes any decisions and we start getting people activated doing schematics again, yeah. The week of the 17th is pretty flexible for me. Actually, both weeks are pretty flexible, I've got random appointments, but.
We have a meeting on the 15th, so why don't you make the other one a couple of weeks later?
The 15th is a Saturday in June.
Yeah.
Oh, monthly meeting, July.
How about the 20th?
Of June.
Yes.
I can't, I can't do it. Go ahead.
When can you do it? Are you away, Jean? When are you here?
20th, I've got several things already
All right,
that I can't.
Are there days that you know that you can do some?
What about the 21st?
21st is out for me.
What's a date when you can?
When's the 24th, a Monday?
Yeah.
We do the 24th.
Yeah, I've got a COA meeting down there from that list you gave. I'm also gonna open Pleasant Street Center, open house at Pleasant Street Center from 6 to 8 on the 12th. That one.
That's-
Oh, I
that
took
one's-
that one,
Yeah.
I
one
deleted
canceled.
that one.
Okay, good.
Why don't you do the,
The 24th, it's my cousin's birthday.
Okay, we can't do that.
No. I just have, I have
Birthday's a
an
special.
appointment from 10 to 11 in Charlestown on the 24th, but other than that,
why don't you do the 24th and then the 15th?
The 24th, that gives us a week to do our cut and paste. 2 weeks almost.
no. We're doing signs.
Oh, this is the sign meeting, that's right.
Yeah.
Gives us 2 weeks to do both signs.
Yeah.
So signs on the 24th.
What do you think? Karen?
I'm free.
You're free?
I'm free.
School's out.
Okay.
What time?
Can we make it in the afternoon?
Yeah.
What day of the week is that?
That's a Monday,
We can meet at the same.
Oh, what's the date?
the
24th.
24th.
Either that, we could all meet at one.
Nothing done.
It'll be an interesting sign.
Let's toast to the senior center.
It would be the best meeting ever.
Would you like it 3 o'clock? 2 o'clock?
How about we make it 2:00?
Okay.
Can we do?
2 o'clock.
Can't, well, wait a minute. Can Karen J?
Yeah.
Can you do 2
Oh, yeah.
o'clock? Okay.
2 o'clock lawn signs.
I don't know, we'll have to.
Go to the library.
My house is clean, you can come to it.
We can go to the senior center.
Yeah,
So where are we at now, Nancy?
we are at the small work group meeting on June 24th at 2 p.m.
Don't
The-
call it a work group.
Hmm?
Don't call it a work group. Why?
Why?
Well,
Small group.
July non-quorum,
June 24th.
except it's a, no, let's not, I don't even
It's
want to
a
have this
conversation.
conversation.
It's just a conversation.
And then you have these serial conversations.
Gathering, how about a
So-
signage gathering?
Brainstorming.
Bring your sign.
July 15th, we have a monthly meeting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at that monthly meeting, everybody play around with the schematics, please.
It's lawn signs and schematics at that meeting.
It could be a shorter, I think once you do it, you're gonna see the holes.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling we're all gonna see the same holes. My take on it, so.
Is July 15th soon enough to get it to?
I don't know, who knows, but you know, when you look at this, I mean, there's no way that the June,
I think it'll be
I
fine.
think
Yeah.
it's fine. All right.
You know, we gotta make sure we're pushing really hard, and I think a lot of people are getting tired.
Yeah,
So,
I agree.
I
I just
think,
don't want us to miss the
yeah.
boat because boom, planning a permanent building committee goes into gear and PH&A suddenly go into gear and we're also, but if we're schematics, we didn't get to
I
tell you.
think the permanent building committee is going to, I mean, they just started, they just
Yeah.
took this on,
Yeah.
they're
At that meeting,
volunteers.
They said
They
that
need-
they needed to.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like they were gonna
So-
take the ball and run.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
had a lot of,
My
questions
gut
and things.
says
Okay.
July,
Yeah.
they're gonna be working on it, and if they have an answer by August,
Okay,
we're gonna be lucky.
okay,
that's the impression I got from that meeting.
Yeah.
okay. That sounds good.
All right,
Are we done? Can we move,
anybody make a motion?
move to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Who's,
Aye.
who's online? Jackie,
And then
And
Jackie just.
she's muted. Nancy,
Yes.
are you in favor
Yes,
I don't,
of adjourning?
yes.
And
Jackie.
Jackie voted. She can-
Oh, Jackie can't, sorry, Jackie.
it's all right.
Jackie will miss you, thank you. Nancy will miss you, thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank
Everyone.
Thank you.
Good meeting, good meeting.